had some key local races, there are also regional ones with national implications. For Wisconsin Supreme Court liberal Judge Susan Crawford from Dane County beat out conservative Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel.
Joining us now is our political analyst, Stephen Maynard Caliendo. Thanks so much for being with us
Always
this morning.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
You know, when we talk about this race in Wisconsin, it was a heated one, the Supreme Court race. We can't help but also talk about the influence of money. But overall, what is your takeaway from the Democratic candidate, if you will, from her win?
Yeah, I mean, right. You're right. It's technically a nonpartisan election, but this is clearly liberal versus conservative, right. And of course the Trump administration was very much involved in this to the extent that that Elon Musk was there, not only spent his own money adding to the campaign, but directly gave $1 million to a couple of potential voters up there. I think that we have to be careful about making too much of an inference about national politics from municipal races, but in this one in particular, because it's a state race in a purple state, I think it is fair to draw some conclusions about how folks in those areas are feeling about the administration at this moment.
I was going to say, Wisconsin just voted for
That's right.
President Donald Trump in November. So what does this mean? I mean, does this tilt the swing back the other way? I
think that's a fair assessment, but they also voted to uphold a voter ID law, to to reinforce voter ID laws in Wisconsin, which is not a progressive idea. And so at the same time, people were going and casting votes for what they knew was a more progressive judge on the Supreme Court, kind of a rebuff of Elon Musk and his policies. They were holding on to a conservative idea. So deeply purple, I would say, in Wisconsin.
I know the court's responsible for cases related to abortion when it comes to the state's laws, a congressional redistricting, which is always a hotbed of controversy everywhere.
You bet.
So what does a quote-unquote liberal majority mean for that state in those regards?
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin's had a liberal majority in the Supreme Court for the last couple of years, and we've seen some real wins on issues like abortion. Of course, if we're talking about electoral challenges, which we know, in the last couple of years, we've heard a lot about after an election, whether or not something is a valid, whether the outcomes are valid, that ends up at the Supreme Court. And so that's the reason why you saw so much money being funneled into this campaign. It has implications beyond the state of Wisconsin. That's why so much money came in from outside the state.
Were you surprised?
I was not surprised. No, I thought that's the way I expected that one to go. Also wasn't surprised in the races in Florida, which we may talk about in the next hour.
We certainly may, because we'll be back talking to you later this morning.
That sounds good.
Thank you so much, Stephen Maynard Caliendo. As always, we appreciate you getting up early to talk about all of the things political, right?